So as you may have heard, Gillette, a company that makes razors, put out a commercial which neglected to feature any shaving. Instead, the company has decided to go in a bold new direction of talking down to its audience, and it stirred up quite the shit show online. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not one of these right-wing snowflakes that got butthurt by it. I don't see anything wrong with the overall message of the commercial. If anything, toxic masculinity is a real thing that society could certainly do without. It is instead the tone of the commercial that seems to have been what irked everybody. It kinda does have that finger-wagging, patronizing vibe to it, but I thought it was fine, to be honest. Some people seem to think it's an indictment of the entire male gender, but we should be at the point where nobody has to say not all men anymore. If you're not a douchebag, then the accusatory finger of this commercial is clearly not directed at you. And for some reason, there are dudes out there that just can't seem to grasp the difference and think that an attack on toxic masculinity is an attack on everything masculine. They're reacting to the label rather than the concept. They're the same people that react to a headline without ever reading the article. Nobody is saying that masculinity itself is toxic. That's not what that means. They're saying that certain negative and antisocial traits are mistakenly lumped in with society's perception of what is masculine. Things like the use of force as being manly, the suppression of healthy emotions, bossing people around, they aren't masculine traits, they're just sociopathic. Like, who do you think is more masculine? Macho Man Randy Savage or Atticus Finch? Now, before I get into the details, let's take a look at the commercial and poke a little fun at it.
Bullying.
The Me Too movement against sexual harassment.
Masculinity.
Is this the best a man can get?
Of course it's not the best a man can get. You knowingly just listed off some of the worst traits associated with them. Whoever suggested the worst of human behavior is the best we can get?
Is it? We can't hide from it.
Oh, I thought those kids were bullies. They just ran past that alleged sissy kid, so I guess they're just running a marathon. And in my experience, bullying isn't an issue of masculinity. Girls bully the shit out of each other all the time. It's just an asshole issue.
It's been going on far too long. We can't laugh it off.
Who's the daddy?
Well, that depends. Are we talking about actual real-world misogyny or fictional depictions of it? Because all sorts of characters that would be unsavory in real life are funny when they're in the safe confines of a TV show. Seinfeld comes to mind. The things George does would be offensive if somebody actually did them in front of you, but they're fucking hilarious in the context of a comedy program. See, even the women in this fictional audience are laughing. Because reasonable people understand the difference between jokes and a serious advocacy of chauvinism and misogyny.
What I actually think she's trying to say.
Oh, a shitty boss. That's never happened before. Yeah, it sucks when someone cuts you off mid-sentence or tries to hijack a conversation and then explain your point for you, but that happens to everyone. It has more to do with one's meekness and the other person's inconsideration than gender. I don't know why some women assume that this is only happening to them.
Making the same old excuses.
Boys will be boys. Boys will be boys. Boys will be boys.
But something finally...
Yeah, people say that boys will be boys shit because they're lazy parents. They're not complacent because boys have some inherent right to beat up other kids at a barbecue. They're just fucking lazy. Why attribute to malice that which can be attributed to incompetence? That being said, I don't know any father that would just stand there as their kid's getting his ass kicked and excuse the assailant's behavior.
It changed.
Allegations regarding sexual assault and sexual harassment.
But she says
And there will be no going back. Because we believe in the best in men.
Men need to hold other men accountable.
Yeah, we do. We have a whole legal system in which we do that, Terry. And if you happen to open your eyes on social media for a second, you'll see that calling out other people's shitty behavior and ethics is more popular than ever.
Well, sweetie, come on.
To say the right thing. To act the right way.
Bro, not cool.
Are you fucking insane? Sure, maybe if that guy is your buddy, or if he's about to go rape that chick, then maybe you may be ethically obligated to intervene. But the average person doesn't want to get stabbed because he tried to get involved in someone else's conflict. Things escalate quickly when you lip off to people, even if they know that you're correct. Ironically, it's another symptom of toxic masculinity, that when some men feel challenged, they think it's their duty to prove how tough they are instead of how well-spoken they can be. Now obviously you'd be a better person if you stepped up to bat for someone that was being mistreated, But for Gillette to get up on their high horse and suggest that you must get involved, that you must police the behavior of strangers when they're not the ones taking the risk, is a bit much. I applaud anyone that does intervene, but that's what separates a hero from the masses. It's unrealistic to expect that every individual is going to be a hero. Most people have trouble just being good.
Some already are. In ways big
Yo, men,
and small.
I am strong.
Now that's cute, the father instilling confidence in his daughter, but I thought the entire theme of this ad was teaching boys and men to behave better. So wouldn't it be more appropriate to have footage of someone instilling egalitarian values in their son?
But some is not enough.
It's not how we treat each other, okay? Okay.
Yeah, you see those dudes breaking up the fights and the bullying? That's how the vast majority of people react to that shit. This is framed as if there's a huge epidemic of feral boy gangs running the streets unabated by any male adult.
Because the boys watching today will be the men of tomorrow.
Nice little platitude at the end. Again, the overall message of this is positive, and there's nothing particularly disagreeable about it. However, I question who this is actually directed at. Does Gillette think they are going to solve the world's sociopath problem with a 2-minute ad? Do they believe that the problem is that men with antisocial problems are just unaware that their behavior is bad? Does Gillette think the public is so daft that they haven't noticed these societal ills that have plagued us since the beginning of recorded history? That we as a people have been working on and trying to find solutions to? The people who genuinely need to hear this stuff don't fucking care. It doesn't matter how many commercials they see shaming them. This only impacts people who are already on board. The people who actually need to hear it are just gonna respond like, "The fuck is with this pussy libtard faggot shit? I'm switching to Dollar Shave Club!" Sadly, that's not too far off base from reality, because as soon as this commercial came out, a bunch of right-wing snowflakes started boycotting the company and went as far as to throw out all the razors. Someone on Twitter suggested to me that it's good that the public is voting with their wallet. But these people already paid for the razors. Gillette already has their money. This isn't like voting with your wallet, it's more like burning your ballot. Same overreactive man babies that burn their NFL gear after the anthem kneeling incident. By all means, don't let sense get in the way of your spite. And lastly, I don't believe for a second Procter & Gamble gives a flying fuck about toxic masculinity or any other social issue for that matter. They care about selling products. They're pandering to a new trend the same way Nike did. It's weird to me that corporations are getting into the virtue signaling game, because when I was a kid, we didn't know jack shit about the stance of a business. I don't need to know how McDonald's feels about the wage gap, I just want my fucking cheeseburger. I know what my opinions are already. I don't need to have it reinforced by people who make my pube trimmer. And despite what the Supreme Court might say, corporations are not people, and there's no reason for them to have opinions on society or politics. Because in reality, it's just the opinion of the head honchos of the company and their marketing execs, and that's subject to change at any time. At least they're pushing a narrative that I can agree with on some level, although it could be argued it furthers a budding stereotype that these social ills like bullying are purely a product of the male psyche, rather than the traits we find in assholes of any gender. Now, I hate to be so cynical about it, but a lot of these awareness campaigns are just a lot of hot air and no action meant to drum up a conversation about their product. It's like how the people who made that movie Bird Box on Netflix are the ones that put out the memes that got people to hear about the movie in the first place. They pretended to be normal average Twitter users in order to trick normal average Twitter users into spreading the meme. These companies manipulate the public discourse all the time, and it's not for altruistic reasons.